This is the Socorro Planning Zoning Commission. It is April 5th, 5:32 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon, everyone. Moving on to item number 2, establishment of quorum. Mr. Andrew Arroyos?
Here.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros? He is absent. Mr. Ernest Gomez?
Here.
Mr. David Estrada?
Here.
Ms. Julie Dominguez?
Here.
Ms. Miriam Cruz?
Present.
And Mr. Jose Vaquera.
Here.
We have quorum with 6 commissioners present.
Yes,
Moving.
may I just real quick?
Yes, sir.
To the chair and commissioners, I just want to introduce Mr. Juan Vaquera, who is new to the commission. He was appointed by the mayor and council maybe about a month ago or so. And so this is his first meeting. Wanted to make sure that we acknowledge his presence and that we thank him for his service. Had a great conversation with him earlier about 2 weeks ago or so. But so he's eager to represent. He's from Socorro, and happy to have you, Mr. Vaquera.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 3, notice to the public open forum. Ms. Diana, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
We don't have any speakers.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos to approve and seconded by Ms. Julie Dominguez. Now I'd like to take your votes. Mr. Andrew Arroyos?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros is absent. Mr. Ernest Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. David Estrada?
Yes.
Ms. Julie Dominguez?
Yes.
Miriam Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Jose Vaquera?
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to item number 5, consider and take action on the proposed approval of preliminary and final subdivision plat for 1120 Robin Road, being track 1A12, Lee Clark Survey 293, abstract 6257, City of Socorro, Texas. Mr. Carlos?
Thank you, Eunice. Good afternoon, commissioners, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Carlos Gainar with Planning and Zoning Department. Happy to see you all once again. I think it's been a while, right? Maybe about a month or so. So this first item is a combination plat. As you know, there's the process of preliminary and final, and when there's really no changes between the preliminary and the final, we could process them both as a combination. So that's what this is that's in front of you. The zoning is unclassified. It's one of these lots up closer towards I-10 that doesn't have a zoning designation. The applicant is processing a rezoning from unclassified to C2 with conditional use permit. The size is about 5.25 acres. The future land use map does not have this has this not classified, or it's one of those, again, ambiguous, weird colored ones that doesn't have a designation. The land use right now is vacant. The request is to plat the property for development purposes. The applicant does want to develop this into a truck company parking lot of sorts. Planning and zoning staff is recommending approval. Here's the location map. So it's on Robin Street, near I-10 and Jamie Street. Next slide, please. So again, here's the location map. Again, 5.25 acres in size. Here's the zoning map. So it's unclassified, it's that gray area, but the surrounding zoning districts are C2s, M1s, M2s. And again, the applicant will be coming in 2 weeks with a public hearing for the rezoning. Here is the property image, again, vacant land. Here's the aerial. Another view of the aerial. And then here is the preliminary plat that shows sort of the contours and the direction of the flow of water. And then here is the final plat. So the final plat shows 2 commercial lots, on-site ponding, and there will be no dedication of public improvements to the city of Socorro. So no streets, no sidewalks, no public ponds. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions, Ms. Cruz.
Thank you. Is the applicant here?
I don't believe he is here.
Okay. So I know that you showed the, and in the backup, it's included that it's zoned as, or it's unclassified, but I'm looking at the website right now on the, from the city of Socorro
Yes, ma'am.
zoning map.
Shows it at C2?
It does show it as C2.
I can't tell you why, but
Okay.
it is unclassified.
Okay. And was that explored? Did we look into maybe why it was already classified, or at least on the website it's
We
classified as
did,
C2?
Ms. Cruz, and again, quite honestly, I have no response to you. I mean, the Eunice and I looked at it when the applicant came in. We know it's unclassified. You know, in the transition of going from one GIS system to the next, maybe that one was just sort of a parcel that was, again, I don't know. It's just the
Sure.
zoning map is incorrect, and we didn't want to change it until we knew that the process was going to go forth.
And do we know what zoning they're going to be requesting? Is it going to be a
Yes,
C2?
C2
Yeah.
with a conditional use permit.
And when you say parking lot, do you know if it's, and I wish the applicant was here so we could ask them, but is it going to be more of a distribution center?
No, ma'am, just parking. I believe the gentleman owns 8 to 10 trucks. He just wants to park them.
And I know that it's not in here. Well, actually, wait. Where would the entrance be? I don't see that on the,
So the entrances is
Plat.
off of Robin, and they don't really show it on a subdivision plat. It's when they come in for construction drawings for the whole parcel, that's when they would see the ingress or egress. So it could either be on both sides of Robin. Robin loops around.
yeah, I'm quite familiar with that area. And so, and the reason I'm asking is because, being very familiar with that street, it seems like there is some space from the road to the proper, I guess I don't know where the property line is. I don't know if there were pictures of that. But I guess my concern would be, coming in and out and of that property and where they're gonna do it, because at certain points, especially at that curve doesn't have a stop sign or a yield or anything like that. And so I can imagine some cars going, 30, 40 miles an hour on that curve, and there's this, 18-wheeler blocking the road. And so that's my concern, is just depending on where they decide to make that. I guess it would be the same if they did it on the other side and the cars coming in from Horizon over towards Stockyard. So I guess I'm hoping that they can be as far as away from the curve as possible.
So the way that there's 2 lots, right? One lot into 2 lots, they're
Mhm.
both front, so if you see what's in front of you.
Right.
We know that at least is it lot 1 or lot 2? Lot 2 will be fronting onto Robin, not the other Robin,
Right.
right? That other area that you're talking about.
So they can only be that on that side?
Yes, ma'am, correct. And then the other lot 1 does have, because it's a corner lot, has access from both sides of Robin. We have not, again, we won't be able to review that until they come in with the construction drawings for their parking lot and area, so that's when we would review that.
Okay, and I guess I would just point that out
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
because
Great point.
even now, actually, when, like I said, I'm familiar with that street. Even now when I'm curving into it, because of the brush, because of, actually, the land there is actually kind of higher up. There's dirt and stuff and sand.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't see
So they
past
will
the
be
curve.
grading it.
Right.
They will be grading it, leveling it off.
Right.
Again, all the driveways will have to be to code. So
Will they
we'll
have to
review
put a
it.
sidewalk in?
They don't have to put a sidewalk in.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Those are all my questions.
If there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos to approve and seconded by Mr. David Estrada. All those in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Anyone would like to abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 6, consider and take action on the proposed approval of a subdivision replat and a variance request to allow for reduction in the minimum lot size for 10330 Socorro Road, being Lot 1, Block 1, Lot 1, Trujillo Subdivision, Unit 2, City of Socorro, Texas. Carlos?
Thank you, Eunice. Once again, Carlos Gainado with Planning and Zoning. This is another replat this is another subdivision that's a replat with a variance request to allow for the minimum lot size, and I'll walk you through that because the zoning is A1. The A1 requires a minimum of 1 acre. As they are subdividing it, one of the lots is about half an acre. And so when you subdivide, right, they're carving out that lot, obviously does not meet the minimum requirements for the 1 acre, so they're asking for the variance as well. The zoning, as I mentioned, is A1 agricultural. It's about 2.85 acres in size. Future land use map is also undefined. Land use is vacant. There is a single family house, again, as I mentioned. Part of it is, 80% of it is vacant, 25% of it has a single family lot. Again, it'll make a little bit more sense when I walk you through the subdivision. And then the request is to subdivide 1 lot into 2 lots. So this is essentially a lot split, and it creates from 1 lot 2 lots. And staff is recommending approval. Here's the location. The parcel does front Socorro Road. There is another residential road, Cupec, and then Carter Scott Place. It's that subdivision set back off of Socorro Road. Here's the zoning map again, agricultural. Here's the property image. Here's another view of the aerial. Next slide, please. And so here's just another view, again, off of Socorro Road. And then here's the original plat. And so the original plat has 2 parcels, parcel 1 and parcel 2. Parcel 1 is a large parcel. That's the one that they're replatting. So they're taking parcel 1 and making it into 2 lots. And then here's the replat. And so when you see that they now have 2 lots, the smaller lot that has the house does not meet the 1 acre minimum requirement for the A1, and so that's why they're asking for the variance to allow the lot to be smaller than the A1. And then again, I'll walk you through the variance request. So again, the A1 zoning requires a minimum lot size of 1 acre. The new lot, which is lot 1A, is half an acre, and then the variance would allow the lot to be smaller than the required 1 acre. And they are also in the process of rezoning this. And so the question for us is sort of kind of like the chicken or the egg kind of question. Do you rezone first? But then what do you rezone? Because they don't want to rezone the whole parcel. They only want to rezone the single family home from A1 to R1. And again, that's being processed. Or do you subdivide it first, right? Because it's a sort of a lot that doesn't exist. And so the code does allow variance requests when it's sort of weird sort of circumstances. And so that is what the reason for the variance on the lot dimension. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is the applicant here?
You know, the applicant, I did mention, so he's not here. And the engineer is both the one for Robin subdivision and this one. I'm not sure what happened. I did talk to him earlier yesterday, or Friday, I believe, and mentioned it to him, but he's not here.
There was no feedback on any negative, anybody opposing to it?
So, Mr. Chair, on plats, we don't send public notices. It's only on zonings and conditional use permits that we send the 200-foot radius. So on this one, we wouldn't know. But again, from our perspective, you already have the house there, right? And many years ago, that's what they had a large lot. I'm not sure what plans they had. The plans they have now is to sell it, and they want to subdivide it, but they want to keep the house, obviously.
I don't have any more questions. Ms. Cruz?
Can we condition for it to be rezoned after if it's approved? And I'm assuming it would be rezoned to an R1?
Yes, ma'am, it's gonna be rezoned to R1. So can you, Ms. Crusoe, let me say this, I think okay, so that's a tricky question, right? Because they have to, let's just assume that it goes through the process. And there's no, just for a minute, no condition on it, right? It's passed, you pass it, city council passes it, then they have to record it, right? But they can't record it until the parcel has some degree of approval, a variance approval from this body recommending and then city council approving. So I'm not sure exactly where the recommendation would be, right, that they do rezone it. I know that they want to rezone the smaller parcel to R1, the larger parcel, and we also spoke with the real estate agent. I asked her if she wanted to rezone the whole thing. That would have made it simpler. She said, no, we only want to rezone the house. They're selling the rest. Not sure what the new owner's going to do.
Sure.
So I just don't know where you put the condition, right? Before they file it for recording it at the county, before it goes to city council, it's going to city council on Thursday.
I guess the way that I pictured it is actually afterwards, right? So it'd be sort of a promise to rezone, because, I mean, we look at it, it's a 50% plus variance.
Yes, that's
that we
right.
would be
That's right.
approving.
I think you could, I mean, again, I don't know that you could legally, and maybe Marwan may chime in, I don't know that you could legally hold their hands to it, right? Because it meets all the other requirements, and plats are a little bit, you don't have as much flexibility. It meets the requirements for the subdivision ordinance. You approve it, they have to record it. All I can tell you is that I've spoken with their engineer. Eunice has spoken with the owner many times. I've spoken with the real estate agent. They do have the intention of rezoning it. And then also the way that we've structured the language for next 2 weeks is that it's based on the new lot. So we're assuming that they're going to record it within the next 2 weeks. And if they don't, I think that's where we would then have to withdraw it with Marwan, on at least the rezoning portion of it.
That's right. I think you have it right, Carlos. So I think to simplify what you were saying is you're saying that once the replat is approved now, it gets recorded and then it's done. So there's no way to, make it conditional because a replat just says it's been divided into two.
Correct. With the variance.
Right. So, but I think it's, I guess we can even have planning and zoning maybe clarify that with the applicant that they'll get the rezoning done.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like one of those things where you can't commit somebody, you can ask them to do it, but it just, whether or not, let's say they sit on it for a month or two and then rezone it. I mean, it's too indefinite that you can't make them do it, but that's really the only conceivable thing they could do with it anyway, right?
And they did submit the site plan, so it's part of your backup, right? So again, we needed the site plan for the rezoning. And Ms. Cruz, even let's assume they don't rezone it. It's still a single family house in a lot that's not it's not going anywhere, right? I mean, they could always tear it down. At that point, then, I don't know I think at that point they would have to rezone it because then it really doesn't meet the minimum for the 1 acre. I just don't know. I think there may be some assurances from the applicant that they do have intention of rezoning. They paid the application. We're processing it. It's on your consent agenda
Oh, okay.
for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the only thing was it just had to be broken up into steps because we couldn't
Yes, ma'am.
do it all
Yes,
at
sir.
one time.
That's
But
exactly right.
but and Carlos has mentioned this before, that sometimes if they want to come back and do something, let's say they wanted to build some multifamily, okay, well, they're going to have to get approval, the building plans are going to have to come back to P&Z. So there's a hold that the city has at different stages. But it's just, it's hard to get somebody to commit, but I know what you were saying, that you just want them to make sure that they're going to get it done. But it's like, and I forget the word for it, but it's getting somebody to commit ahead of time. It's like asking P&Z here to say, okay, well, he's going to submit a rezoning, and you guys need to approve it in the future and promise you're going to.
Right.
You guys can't promise that either,
probably
that you're
right.
going to approve it. You have to
True.
wait till the application gets here. And now, more than likely, if you guys approve the replat, you'll approve the rezoning when you remember when it comes up. But
Right.
you can't just promise it that we will do it 100%.
True.
You just don't know.
True. Okay. good points. Thank you very much. And I didn't notice that it was a part of the consent agenda. I mean, they already paid the fee. That it seems like they're going to follow through is basically what I'm saying. But so my concern was, what could they do if they left it as an A1? And I know that on A1s, you are allowed to have a home on them.
You can have a single-family home, correct?
What else would they be able to do?
Do we have
If
that list?
on a half acre?
On structural-wise, single-family home, no mobile homes. I'm almost sure
But
no
it's an
mobile homes,
A1, right?
What's that?
I'm talking about it as an A1.
Yes, as an A1.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
wow.
as an A1, so single-family home, and then activities associated with agricultural uses, farming, keeping animals.
Okay.
That sort of thing. They can't open up a business. Am I 100% sure on the mobile home? Yes, no mobile homes. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So it's really, again, from our perspective, Ms. Cruz,
No harm.
that's exactly right. It's probably good,
Okay.
even if they don't rezone it for whatever reason, it's okay, right? It's
Sure.
not a big deal, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Mr. Estrada?
What's the proposed square footage on that smaller parcel? I can't tell.
It's, yes, sir, it is, it's in the,
0.49.
0.49?
so 22,000 square feet or so? I have it
So
in the-
half an acre.
Yeah, so
Okay.
an acre is 43,560 square feet
So it's
divided
about
by
half an
two.
acre. About half an
Half
acre.
an, it's exactly right.
21,447
Yes.
square feet, right, if I'm using,
So
if I'm
it is-
looking at it right.
It is a large lot, right? From a lot perspective for a single-family home, it is a large.
Oh, there, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody has any questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos and seconded by Ms. Miriam Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone nay? Anyone would like to abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7, consider and take action on the proposed approval of a subdivision replat for Lot 3, Block 2, Baba Unit 1, City of Socorro, Texas. Carlos?
Yes, ma'am. Chair and Commissioners, last item on the agenda, this is another replat. This is, again, just as part of the background, there's no zoning because it's in the ETJ, not in the EJT. So there's no zoning in the county land. The size is about 2.65 acres. The future land use map is not classified because it's not within the City of Socorro. Land use is vacant. The request is to replat property for development purposes. The plat subdivides one lot from the original Baba Unit 1 into 3 parcels and a drainage lot, and staff is recommending approval. Here's the location map. This one is on I-10 and Nuevo Hueco Tanks. Here's the zoning map. So again, it's on that, you see it on that area in blue, which is just right outside our city limits. And again, right on the intersection, on the southwest intersection of I-10 and Nuevo Hueco Tanks. Here's the property image. Here's the aerial. And here's the aerial, but it should be on the next slide. Yeah, it should be on the other side. The square should be on the other side, but just the general area of the parcel. Here's Baba Unit 1, and it's that lot 3, which is the bottom lot. That lot is being subdivided into 4 parcels, which is the replat. Next slide, please. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Isn't it already southwest of the freeway?
West, yes, sir.
You're
Southwest.
going up the one on the left?
If I'm going up, it's the one on the left, yes, sir.
It's already been developed, so
It's being graded.
graded, more than graded, but,
From-
okay.
So it's being graded. I mean, the applicant's here if you want to ask them questions, but they do have the right to grade because it is platted, right? They're just now carving it into 3 different lots.
I do have a question, because I remember this item, they were probably here, I don't know, 2 years ago, year and a half ago or so. And I remember there was a mention of a school. I don't know if y'all remember that. There was a school mentioned, and I remember speaking about it because my concern was that there was a decline. I know it's a long time ago. There was a decline, right? I was wondering, is it going to be on top of the sort of hill or below, and the water, you know, where's it going? And so that's why I remember this specifically. And so I'm wondering if the applicant wouldn't mind maybe giving us a little bit of history of when, if you all have presented here before and what was presented.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chair. My name is Robert Romero with Train Associates, and we agree with all of staff comments for the record. I want to touch base first with the comment that was made by the Commissioner. I'm sorry, Commissioner, I don't know your name.
Miriam Cruz. Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Gomez.
Mr. Gomez.
No, I'm not here.
Yes, sir. You.
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
The reason why it's already
Dominguez.
graded and why roads are there is because BABA Unit 1 was the first plat. So BABA Unit 1 was all approved, our improvement plans were approved, and that's why you see it graded, the roads are there, and that project is complete and done. This is a second project, and one of the lots is being subdivided. But all that development that you see there is because of the first project that came in and was all approved and completed. So I just want to clarify your concerns there, sir. To answer your question, Commissioner Cruz, there has never been a school here. I'm not sure if this is being mistaken with another property. I've been very involved since the beginning, and for Baba Unit 1, we have never proposed a school in this development, or there's no existing school even near the development. So I'm not sure if there's maybe another particular site that you're speaking about, but there has never been a school proposed with Baba Unit 1.
I want to chime in a bit. I think, Ms. Cruz, if I may, I think before this development, there was another development. It was a conceptual plan or whatnot, and I think they had kind of mentioned that there might be a possibility of a school, but it's a little bit south of yours.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah,
but-
I would have no idea what they're
Right.
doing south of my
Correct.
client's property.
yes, sir.
And so I'm sorry, if I have another question. So your client's property is lot 1, 2, 3, and 4?
That is
are on the
correct.
original plat?
That is correct. He owns that entire lot, and he is now subdividing.
Okay, so you don't know of anything
South of that, I have. no
south
idea.
or next to it? Okay, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well then, yeah, then you might not know. Well, then let me ask you,
Sure.
what are the plans for potentially, conceptually?
Sure, the plans, there's been a lot of interest because of all the development within the area. I do have a non-disclosure agreement signed with my client, so I can tell you that there's some fast food national chains that are interested in the property, and so it's being subdivided for the type of developments are going to be like fast food. I can say that much. So you're going to have a lot more options now south of I-10, because everything's been coming in north of I-10. So now development is slowly trickling south of I-10. So there's been interest, and it's going to be fast food restaurants.
Great. Could you say if it's going to be on all 3 lots on the replat?
Right now, there's interest on 2 lots only. And again, those contracts are not finalized or executed, so it's just, this is why he's subdividing, because of the type of interest he's received from other chains.
Of course, I understand. But it's nice to know, you know, I mean,
Absolutely.
what potentially. And then, of course, I mean, just as a constituent, I will say it's nice to know because now I don't have to wait to cross I-10 to get to one of the
Yeah.
fast foods, you know? I mean, it's just, it'll be nice. Except that, well, if I'm going north, where will I turn? I don't know. Because that's blocked right now.
Yeah, and we tried coordinating that with TxDOT. Unfortunately, it's their right of way.
Right.
But
Well, actually, it
Kind of
just
outs-
became ours, right, Mr. Leonard? What's that? Now that's our route, right away?
There's a portion of it that's still in Texas.
yeah,
Oh, it's still,
correct.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
still TxDOT.
true.
But the same developer, to answer your concerns, there was a plat brought here before you that's called Caesar Unit 1 about a month ago, which is on the right-hand side. And it's the same property owner, and he's also received interest from some national chains that I think you all will be very happy getting south of I-10. So you can't turn left, but you can turn right in these other,
Okay.
this other development that's gonna happen on the
Alright.
southeast corner of this intersection.
Sure, good. Well, no, that's good to know. I mean, I'm hopefully, right, it's something I like.
Oh, I
'cause
can't
I don't
promise
like
you
the-
that, but there's
Right.
stuff coming up here within the.
But as long as there's variety, I mean, that's what's important.
And that's exactly what it is. There's a variety. What I've seen is none of the names that are north of I-10
We'll be there.
are the ones that are interested, so there's gonna be variety.
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No? I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos to approve and seconded by Ms. Julie Dominguez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Do I have anyone that would like to abstain? Any nays? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 8, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
Anybody have anything to report?
I guess I just have a question for Mr. Gallina.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we getting that training potentially? Because I know we had to cancel last meeting, so.
Yeah, we can, and you know what, great question. We know that just looking through our applications,
Mhm.
it's gonna slow down, and so, maybe the first or second week in May, we could reschedule. We'd have to work with the attorney on his schedule. But,
Right.
let us look at that, Ms. Cruz, for maybe May, maybe June. If that's the only thing that's in the agenda, we can let you know. So, yeah, and it's a great training. Our staff took it. It's really good. It's informative. I think it's just a good baseline of just different things that you all look at.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to inform everybody, I won't be available for the first 2 weeks of June.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah, so we'll look at that.
yeah, thank you.
Do you think it would be necessary to get a special meeting for the
Yeah,
training?
possibly. Why don't you let us at the next time we meet in April? We'll have an idea. So for April, we know for sure you have the 2 items that are on consent.
Right.
That are public hearings, that are rezoning, similar to the 2 cases that you just heard. And then I think we might have another subdivision, but that's about it. I mean, we just got some this week, but it takes us a month or so before we process them to you.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we, next meeting, why don't we let you know, and maybe it's the first week in May that we could do it.
Okay,
Okay?
great.
Did you ever check on that walkway that was supposed to be around Waco?
It was a while back, Mr. Gomez, and I want to say that I did, and I want to say that it wasn't on the plat of the subdivision
No,
that you
it
talked
wasn't
about.
on there, but he stated that there was going to be.
So
one.
we have to go back in and look at it. I remember looking at it. I remember looking to see if there was an easement on the plat. I don't believe there was. If that's the case, we then just need to look it back at, it has to be recorded somewhere that the developer is going to do something, right? If it's not on the plat and it's not a contract, I just don't know how you would then have them do it. But we could circle back on that with you.
I didn't believe he was gonna do it anyway, but we'll see.
Do we know anything about that towing business on Buford? What's going on with that?
The what business, I'm sorry?
The towing business that was operating?
Yes, it's going to city council on Thursday.
Uh-huh.
You all have given them 60 days from council action. They have cleaned it up a little bit. And I don't know, I mean, I'm gonna give the same presentation that I gave to you all. I will relay your recommendation that there was some hesitancy on your part, that you all approved it, but with the condition that we also put some conditions, clean it up. You all put the timeline of 60 days, so we'll relay that to the city council. It's coming up on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 9, Planning and Zoning Department Report.
Mr. Chair, I really don't have anything. I was going to mention to you the training and just the next several months. There may be one Again, depending on how we're doing with applications where we may not have any items for you. I know that's happened in the past. So we'll let you know if we need to not have that meeting. We'll have a better idea, I think, the next time we meet for May and June at least, to give you some indication of what those are gonna look like.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 10, excuse absent commission members.
Make a
to
motion to
excuse.
I second.
Just to be clear, you said he did not respond to your email or call?
Yeah, he did not. No, we left a voicemail. Okay, so I have a motion made by Mr. Gomez to excuse, correct? And seconded by Mr. Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone would like to abstain? Any nays?
Yes, nay.
Ms. Miriam Cruz. Motion carried. Moving on to item number 11, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting.
So moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos to excuse and seconded by Mr. David Estrada. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone would like to abstain? Any nays? Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned at 6:07 PM. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.